from Nazareth, Pennsylvania. A real pretty candy apple red Firebird up against Mr. Radunski from Mount Olive, New Jersey. Drivers, 2 runs today. It says right on the sheet, 2 runs only. 536 light for Joe Radunski, 1085 in the left lane. In the right lane, a 1088. Here's Mike Giuliano from Wantagh, New York, a Deputy Sheriff. 500-inch Super Street car. It probably runs 8. It takes all the electronics off. Very low to the ground style car. As we finish Super Street, all you stock fans, get your pens, pencils, papers ready, we're ready to go. Yeah? .523 light for Giuliano, 10.898. That's it. 2000 Mustang, Martin, New Jersey. There's Theodoro from Middletown, Delaware. Careful safety job by both drivers. He found the numbers on the right run. Winning time 1094 with a 534 light. Losing time a 526 light, 1089 for Byerly. Big Northeast champion for a couple of years now, George Vickers, down from King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. His gruesome car is from the King of Prussia, PA area. It's up against Frank Knox and Jim Clark from Williamstown, New Jersey. Cars broke out. They both broke out, and a closer run for George Vickers by 7. 1087 beats out a 1080 on the 1090 index. Here's last year's car that won this event. This car used to be owned by George Nichols. It was stolen. It's now owned by Darren Robinson. This car won the race last year from Buster Racing. This wild Chevrolet Vega is up against Mike Giuliano from Wantagh, New York. Big block Camaro. Last year. Darren Robinson a little too much on the starting line, 464 red. Mike Giuliano wins with a 1088 and 142 miles on the crowd. I know you really want to get the action, but you really don't need to stand out there. We appreciate your cooperation. Here's Richard George from Forest Hill, Maryland. The racing by George Nova against Pat Iannone. George on a real good solid lead, a 522 light. Pat Iannone ran 11.3 and had a 550 light. Down from Bottown, Pennsylvania, here's Jeff and Sue Chomnick and their black Labrador Toby. The Chevy 2 hardtop is up against Mark Bourdon from Kingsville, Maryland. Strong in the starting line, and by 7, 1087 and a 493 red light for Mark Bourdon, 1082 for Chomnick with a 531 green light. Last call for stock eliminator. You need to be in the lanes. We're going to stock almost within moments after this first round of Super Street. 1072 takes too much finish line with a 1084 and a solid 504 light, but a run out on the run. There's an index factor of 1090 for these Super Street cars, and the car that is closest, and they've had a double breakout, which is pretty much what we just had, the car that is closest is declared the winner. Double breakout, and by 1,000th of a second, the left lane won the race. That's how close it was. Here's a car that runs a lot at Raceway Park, New Jersey. This Chevrolet Vega wagon of Tom DePascale out of Sayreville, New Jersey. The split decision. He's up against Peter Danino from Havertown, Pennsylvania. DePascale had a 503 light, ran 1089 with a 2. Peter Danino had a 526 light and lost the race 1089 with a 0. The 1,000th of a second count in this action. Here's a car that comes all the way from Winston, Ohio. These guys have been here before. John Burbrick in the Tower Lane, the Chevy Camaro. A lot of bracket racing here at Atco Raceway. And it's a long ride back to Ohio from Burbrick as he breaks way out. Lane time for Modeski, 1092. Here's a car all the way from Farmville, North Carolina. A little southern town down on their Highway 258, just north of Jacksonville. Jimmy Hodges in Tower Lane is up against Tom Carell. Makes his home in Bluesburg, Pennsylvania. 369 Camaro. With a 555 light and a 1087 at nearly 125 miles per hour. A real good looking candy apple red and gold car. Boy, in the sunshine, the car really does glisten. Jim Oliveri's big block Pontiac Firebird, the firefighter from Woodbridge, New York, or rather Woodside, New York, is up against in the right lane. Reaction light for Oliveri, 1094, line, 127 miles per hour. Losing time for Solowski, 526 light, 1095 at nearly 130. Next pair of cars up, the Tower Lane it is. Mark Cathell out of Salisbury, Maryland. The Ponzetti's Pizza Car and East Coast Trailers. Mark's a big supporter of NHRA. Here in the Tower Lane, the car with the mufflers. The small block Chevy-powered Camaro. He'll be against Joe Kosak from Vernon, New Jersey, and a real good-looking, fine-running big block Ford Thunderbird. Mark wins. 1097, Mark Cathell in the right lane at 122 miles per hour. Kosak, unfortunately, after making a lot of good runs this weekend, went in deep on the tree. Here's Franklin Cates from Salisbury, Maryland. His big block Chevelle hardtop. Keith Alvinson Winston out of Sussex, New Jersey. A lot of help from Herman Terpstra with his narrow small block. Breaks out, 1087. There's Alan Billings, the corrections officer. He works there on 113 in the state penitentiaries. Alan and Glenda, former division champion, pretty Porsche red colored Firebird, is up against Doug and Mary Lou Miller's awesome looking Camaro from Stowe, Pennsylvania. This is a real good race. Couple of small block Chevrolet power cars. Former division champion in the Tower Lane. For Alan Billings. Miller's on his way to round 2 on a 504 light. 1092 for Alan Billings, 1091 for Doug Miller. Doug Miller with a 504 reaction light. Next pair of cars up, well actually it's the car that was runner-up last year coming to the starting line. Now we lost the car that won the race last year, the George Nichols' own Buster Vega, driven by Darren Robinson. But let's see if we can see where Chanot goes to. John Chanot was runner-up in this race last year. It was beautiful. In the Tower Lane is Tony Pietrafetta from Egg Harbor Township, New Jersey, with his big block Ford-powered Fairlane, 66 Fairlane with a 428 Cobra Jet motor inside instead of the 427 motor. Chanot was runner-up at this race last year. Let's see if he gets to the next round. We've already lost last year's winner. 475 red light for Chanot, and that takes out last year's winner and last year's runner-up. The Ford Fairlane of Pietrafetta goes 1146 on a 492 light. He's not had the car running the number all weekend, but guess what? He'll be in round 2. Losing time for Chanot, 1089 and a 475 red. That closes first round of Super Street, a very, very strong category of race cars.